go ahead and start the meeting. If we could have roll call, please, Zach.
Malio.
Here.
Estrada.
Here.
Hubert.
Here.
Baloo.
Here.
Bowman.
Here.
Wayman.
Here.
Okay. Number 2, the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. For all interested parties, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is posted on the bulletin board at the south wall of the council chambers. Number 3, notice of changes in the agenda by the city manager. No additions may be made in this agenda less than 24 hours before the beginning of the meeting, unless added in item 4 of this agenda. Number 4, citizens with business not scheduled on the agenda as required by state law, no matter may be considered unless unless council determines that the matter requires emergency action. Number 5, approval of the planning commission meetings minutes from March 10th, 2025. Can we have a motion, please?
A motion to approve the minutes from March 10th.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please, Zach.
Malio.
Yes.
Estrada.
Yes.
Hubert.
Yes.
Baloo.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Wayman.
Yes.
Number 6, public hearing. A, public hearing regarding a plat vacation of lots 2 and 3, block 3, Northeast 2nd Edition replat. Number 3, commonly identified as 2302 and 2410 Frontage Road. We could have presentation by staff.
Did you open the public hearing?
Pardon?
Did you open the public hearing?
All right, this is a plat vacation for, by Rockstep. JEO is submitting it. It's the mall. They need to replat again. Since it's exceeded a number of permitted replats, it has to be vacated. It's kind of ambiguous in staff recommendation. JEO is still working with the Register of Deeds to figure out how far back we should take it. Typically, we try to go back to unplatted land, but this subdivision's been replatted so many times and there's vacated streets and whatnot, that we might not be able to do that. So that's kind of why the recommendation reads the way it does. With that said, plat vacation will include a vacation of the existing 40-foot sewer easement and 10-foot stormwater easement that run under the mall. And those will be replaced with a new 40-foot utility easement along the northwest property line, which you'll see in the next agenda item. With that, staff recommends Planning Commission make a positive recommendation to City Council to approve this vacation. I don't know if anybody for the mall is here.
Do we have any public comments? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And does council have any comments? Do we have a motion?
I move we make a positive recommendation to the city council for approval.
We have a second.
A second.
Roll call, please, Zach.
Estrada.
Yes.
Hubert.
Yes.
Baloo.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Wayman.
Yes.
Malio.
Yes.
6B, public hearing regarding a preliminary plat and final plat of blocks 1, 2, and 3, Rockstep subdivision, commonly identified as 2302 and 2410 Frontage Road. Okay, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and we could have a presentation by staff.
So as it's getting vacated, a new preliminary plat was required. As you'll see, there's the vacated easement and the replacement easement in the darker shade. It'll still kind of be goofy. Lot 1 over there will still have the easement as that's a different property owner, but that will likely need to be vacated if they ever want to develop that. All the utilities exist. It's all pretty well built out. They will be blocks 1, 2, and 3 to make sure for easier replatting in the future if they ever want to further subdivide those ones. And it meets all the requirements of code, such as the 8-acre district size and the 20-foot street frontage. With that, staff recommends Planning Commission make a positive recommendation to City Council on the approval of the preliminary and final plat of Rockstep subdivisions, blocks 1 through 3.
Do we have any public comment from anybody? Okay, we'll officially close the public hearing, and does the council have any comments? We have a motion, please?
I move we make a positive recommendation to the city council for approval.
Do we have a second?
I can second.
Roll call, please, Zach.
Huber,
Yes.
Baloo,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Wayman,
Yes.
Belisle,
Yes.
Estrada.
Yes. 6C, public hearing regarding a rezone of blocks 2 and 4, Whistle Creek subdivision from C3 heavy commercial to M1 light manufacturing and industrial, commonly identified as tracts of land located west of the city of Scottsbluff and southeast of the intersection US Highway 26 and Nebraska Highway 92. We'll open the public hearing, and we have presentation by the staff.
So this is the rezone of Block 2 and 4 Whistle Creek subdivision located in the ETJ, just adjacent to the corporate limits. As you'll see, they're wanting to change it from C3 heavy commercial to M1 light manufacturing and industrial, as the potential buyer was looking to do fertilizer mixing and storage at that location, which is a special use permit in the M1 district. The comprehensive plan shows this area as automobile commercial, which M1 is not one of the appropriate zones listed in that. Access to the subdivision would be via city route, and then per the 2015 plat, the existing utility and access easements would become an alley. While it's adjacent to Highway 26, it's unlikely access would be granted there. As it's in the ETJ, there's no water main, sewer main, or stormwater mains there. As you can see in the report, they're hundreds of feet away, excuse me. And then for staff comments, so this is the creation of a new M1 zone, unlike our usual expansions of existing districts. However, it's 22 acres, so it's a sizable one. The rezone, the M1 doesn't align up with the future land use map, which calls for automobile commercial, which would be C2, C3, PBC, and R4. Additionally, the future rezone could be considered not aligning with the beautification of the city's entryways and heavily trafficked community corridors, which was identified as a principle in the 2016 comprehensive plan, and this being an industrial use. Block 4 is contiguous to the corporate limits, and if this project were to continue, the city would request annexation. The two blocks would need to be consolidated eventually, depending on how they would do their layout, which the easements would have to be dealt with. Additionally, water, sewer, stormwater may need to be expanded out there, as well as maybe an additional street. And then finally, city and city staff support the project. However, with the comprehensive plan not aligning with this rezone, staff is making a negative recommendation on approval for the rezone of blocks 2 and 4 Whistle Creek subdivision from C3 to M1. And with that, I know the property owner is here as well.
Okay. Do you have any comments from the public?
Hello, Clint McQuiston. I'm a representative from Simplot. I've also got 3 other people from Simplot from Boise that could not make the trip that are with us on Teams. I guess at this point, we would ask to have this rezoned into M1 as what it would be. Currently where we're located, we are just about a quarter mile east and then a little bit south of the Ashley Furniture Mart. So we're kind of trapped back in there by the railroad tracks for where we're at. We have no room for expansion, growth, or to take our business into the future. And with as long as we have been in the Scottsbluff area, that is something that's very important to us, is to be able to have that opportunity to grow with the community. So guess that we're in a commercial zone. We will not be doing anything on the new site that we wouldn't be doing at our current site. We're bringing in product, storing it, taking it back out to the farm. We're not a retail location. We do not have what I would call shopping, of people coming in with shopping carts and picking stuff up, so the traffic should be at a minimal from customers. You know, we're not a Walmart, we're not a big parking lot. We're not gonna require a bunch of that's coming in. I believe that this will take a lot of our traffic that comes through town already from where we're located. It would be easy access for us to get over to the highway and bypass the community, so that we're not taking, you know, our large semis through a residential or a business area. Do you have any questions for us about what we would be doing anymore than that?
I got some photos here too,
Yeah.
of what the location would look like, and then, I guess, you know, what we do, we always say we're Simplot ready. We wanna make sure everything looks nice and neat and put in place. So I got some drawings of some other facilities that we've just done.
Will you access anything off of 26?
No. Oh, it'll all be coming off that road, up two accesses in there.
Some of those are brand new too, so.
Yeah, there's a brand new tank.
This is what it is proposed to look like.
Yeah, some of it. I mean, we're just kind of showing, we'll have big tanks like that and chemical tanks, or fertilizer tanks there. We'll have a big warehouse. Let me show you this one. So this one is just built, and no landscaping's been done yet. But that's basically what our warehouse will look like. And then we'll have a fertilizer plant. We won't have a dry shed, but we'll have a shop, a chemical and seed warehouse, and an office.
Now, the frontage of 26, will you, I'm sure, do some trees and
I would imagine, try to make it look, yeah, nice.
rather than,
Everything will be landscaped when it's all said and done, yeah. And some of these pictures I'm gonna adjust this, cause like that one, it's brand new, so we haven't got that piece in yet. They'll give you an
Just
idea
kinda
what
show you.
everything looks like. Except for this piece wouldn't be built there.
So these big tanks, these big storage tanks are gonna be right on the city route?
They'll be on the
As-
south street.
Yes.
So the highway's here. This is the south street that would come down towards Ashley Furniture Store. So I guess we could ask as much of it as we
We
could.
could, and then I'll be in the warehouse
So
here.
everything that we've done, we've tried to stay on the south.
Your liquid tank she was asking about gonna be here, yeah.
Yep, right there.
how much difference between an M to a C3? Is there that much difference? Right, but how long is that special use permit good for?
So you want a special use permit where you're at?
It would be,
Like where you exist now, are you on a special use permit? No.
it would be for the parcel that we're looking at.
I have a question for the fire department. Do you have any concerns about this location and the storage of fertilizer?
So Zach sent me the preliminaries, as far as what they want to do on that lot. I didn't get a chance to review it because I was out last week. The only concerns I would have is a warehouse right up in Springboro, but it's gonna be dependent on certain things as far as what they're stored in there. As far as Simplot's history, I only think one time that we responded to their facility for a fire, and that was several years ago. So, safety track wise, unless they haven't reported anything, has been pretty remarkable. And these guys know, they're gonna have to have certain things in place from a hazmat mitigation, and things like that, liquid fertilizer is gonna have to be spilled containment and stuff like that. They know that, I'm not too concerned about that.
We're aware that the storage facility will have to have fire suppressant installed in it. So that's in the plan.
Is there anybody else that has any comments from the public?
May I ask a question?
Yes, come up. Zach, is there a place to sign in? You want to sign in?
You bet.
I just have a really quick question. Are we on, I didn't know what point we were on. So on this, is this regarding the light manufacturing and industrial?
We're on C.
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 The C3 to M1 rezone.
So that's where we are in this? Okay. I guess I was curious, was there any thought of that land being rezoned for some sort of residential space? So I'm one of the pastors at Westway Christian Church, right there in that space. So thinking about that land and how that land is used kind of has an impact on us as a church. So I was just wondering if there had been any thought or concern about zoning that space as some kind of residential area. I mean, I think we all know that residential space is something that's needed in our community. And I'm just bringing up an idea of zoning as residential, and if that's something that had been considered in the past.
So the future land use map, it does list R4 heavy density residential as a potential zoning district in that area, but besides that, it's been commercial for a while.
Sure. Yeah, and I've been there at that church for 8 years, and that's just been a conversation for us. So I was gone last week and I had this stuffed in my box today, and I thought, I should probably come over and just participate. I've never done this before, so I just wanted to hear a little bit more about what was going on and just throw out a concern for residential needs in our community and how that space could be possibly used for that. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments?
Hi, my name is Jane Moran, and I own Jane's Greenhouse. I am the corner of that parcel of land. About 10 years ago, I sold that field, and the people that I sold it to originally told me they were going to build storage units. I have a greenhouse. Most people think it's a building. They don't realize a greenhouse pulls everything that's outside through the building to cool it off. So basically, I'm working outside all the time. A few years ago, there was a business called Panhandle Cartage, which was on the other side of the Westway Church, and they were collecting pallets and rehabbing them or burning them, and they put up a device to burn the pallets, which created quite a bit of smoke, which is not a problem if the wind is blowing from the north or the northwest, but occasionally it blows from the south or the east. And all that smoke came through my building. And it's a hazard to a person's health to have to inhale smoke all day. So I was wondering if you're going to change this to a light manufacturing or whether there's an environmental study that needed to be done, because light manufacturing often changes the quality of the air, and it can also affect the groundwater. Simplot's a great company, but one time they came over to fumigate that field to plant sugar beets, and they had a big spill of something in my parking lot. I was not told about it until I started smelling it and got a headache, and I went out and there it was. And so I called the company a week later and said, "Are you gonna come clean this up?" And they didn't even know about it. So the tendency of people when things go wrong is not to talk about it and not to admit something's happened. This is a big concern with me, that the water quality is there because I need it to grow my crop. My greenhouse is virtually an agricultural business. It grows a crop. So I'm concerned about air quality and I'm concerned about the water quality. The company did come over. They scooped up 4 inches of soil. And I had a big area, probably as big as this room. Nothing grew in it for over 10 years from whatever was spilled there. I've also had the current owner spray for weeds in that area. On May 8th, my daughter was in there working. The fans were pulling the air through there. They were using a chemical to kill all kinds of broadleaf plants, which would have been every single plant in my greenhouse. I also have plants grown outside in the perennial house. And I know from experience, a neighbor who lived in northeast Scotts Bluff, a farmer was spraying the field and the drift came and killed a lot of trees and vines on the houses in this whole neighborhood. So I'm very concerned about manufacturing, changing the zoning on this. I think Simplot's a great company. They're probably not going to create fertilizer, but if you change the zoning, another company could come in and do that. And Scotts Bluff lies east of this property. Most of the wind comes from the north or the west, and if there is air pollution, it will go across town. And the water, again, we need to think about the purity of our water. This is becoming a problem in our country. We're very aware of what chemicals do to our water. So I am just bringing this up because I think in the future, if Scotts Bluff has other projects where you talk about manufacturing, I think that environmental impact study might be considered that you should do before you allow things like this to start, because once it's built, it's hard to change it. And once there's a problem, the people who create the problem tend not to want to fix it or admit to it. And you're just left, the person who's living in that area, just, they're stuck. So, I don't know. That's probably too personal of a statement for this meeting, but I thought I'd bring it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else that would like to make some comments?
Do we know where the canal runs for irrigation?
From the north there,
Yeah.
it'll run on a lateral right here. I don't know how far that south that water right continues anymore.
Hello, my name is Lee Panay, and my wife's family, which I'm part of, obviously owns the farm ground across Highway 26 from this proposal change. I was also a Scottsbluff police officer for 21 years and was a sergeant, and I have been in the area long enough to witness things like the sugar factory explosion, the train derailment, you know, things of that nature. And like Jane was saying, nothing against Simplot. I think they've done like a fantastic job and they're good in this community. But as far as a location, I guess my view of the future of Scotts Bluff lended to be more of retail, commercial, expanding kind of northwest, especially with a frontage like Highway 26. The value of the land seems to me, behind Walmart and Home Depot, it seems to be much more of a retail type than a manufacturing or industrial type. The other concern, I guess, is barring an incident like, we always think we can control all the factors in Mother Nature and stuff like that. But if something terrible was to happen and there be an explosion or some kind of fire or whatever, that prevailing wind would be a concern. I know back in the methamphetamine manufacturing days when we were dealing with that, we were always worried about those anhydrous tanks. We'd spend a lot of time up there because they go up there to steal the anhydrous, and that was always one of the worries. Somebody out there trying to steal anhydrous to make methamphetamine, they don't know what they're doing. They rupture a tank or cause a major spill, it could end up causing huge problems. So, not that there be anhydrous there, I'm not sure, I haven't heard anything about that. And like I said, Simplot was always great for all of that. And they'd report stuff when it was, when they were aware of it. So those are my main concerns, and just from the ownership of the ground perspective, just the view, I guess the common or a general perception was of a continued retail type expansion versus manufacturing or industrial. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public?
Yeah, I don't want to get too out of scope for this, Kim's the legal guy here, but the last part that we had regarding Simplot that was several years ago to clarify was at the elevator, and it was because of a mechanical issue, not because of careless concern or anything like that. Just to clear that up, that way it's not. If there's any questions regarding that.
Any other comments?
Yes, my name's Brad Bodie, and from that yellow dot, if you went straight north across the highway and I live on 42nd Street, so whatever it is, 3/4 of a mile straight north of there. It's my understanding that the city, or that the, what is your position? City planner has recommended that you give a negative recommendation to the city council, is that correct? Okay.
That's the recommendation.
That's your recommendation, okay. Do you follow those recommendations? That's a rhetorical question, you don't have to answer that, but I mean, if you got people that are doing their job and they make a recommendation, I would hope you would follow it. So I don't know anything about Simplot's business. They've been in the community for decades, and I'm sure they're wonderful people, but I don't know why they're not expanding on their existing plot of land. If you don't have room, I don't know what your situation is, but to put it out there right when people are coming on Highway 26 into town from just an aesthetics point of view, that's not a good look in my view of the city. So that's my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
Okay, we have any other comments by anybody? Anybody wants to come up? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Does the commission have any comments or? Okay, do we have a motion, please?
I make a motion that we make a negative recommendation regarding this rezoning.
We have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Roll call, please, Zach?
Hebert?
Yes.
Blue?
No.
Bowman,
Yes.
Wayman,
No.
Ohio,
Yes.
Estrada,
Yes. Okay, we go to number D, public hearing regarding a rezone of part of Lot 1, Tax Lot 13, and the credit lands in Section 27, Township 22, North Range 55, west of the 6 PM from R1A, Single Family Residential to C3 Heavy Commercial, commonly identified as 1902 West Overland Drive. We'll open the meeting, and Zach, do you have any comments?
So this is a rezone from R1A to C3. It's somewhat unplatted. 1902 West Overland's a better reference for this property. The property owner, Travis Allen, is requesting a rezone from R1A to C3. As you can see, it'll be the creation of a new C3 zone next to M1, as there's an M1 and R1A next to it. The reason for this is to prevent M1 from touching R1A. The comprehensive plan calls for this area to be residential, but similar to the ABC Nursery rezone you guys reviewed a few months back, this property is located in the floodplain, and the zoning code promotes commercial and industrial uses in the floodplain over residential. Access to the property is both via Beltline and West Overland. There's a sewer main serving the property in the South Beltline Highway right-of-way, and a water main in the West Overland right-of-way. The purpose of the rezone is to allow the property owner to relocate his tree removal and landscaping business to the property. And with that, staff recommends Planning Commission make a positive recommendation on this rezone of 1902 West Overland. And Travis, the property owner, is here if you have any questions.
Do we have any comments from the public? Do we have any comments from the public from the owner? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and does the commission have any comments or questions? Do we have a motion, please?
A motion to make a positive recommendation, approval of the rezone.
We have a second?
A second.
Okay, roll call, please, Zach.
Blue,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Wayman,
Yes.
Ohio,
Yes.
Estrada,
Yes.
Huber,
Yes.
Okay, D, public hearing regarding a zoning text amendment regarding the definitions of adult day service facility and respite care service facility, in addition to permitting said uses in the C1, C2, C3, and OP zoning districts as a principal permitted uses. Is that?
So Ray Misner, the business manager of Compass Health, approached the city a while back to see if adult day service and respite care service was permitted at his property he's renting at 5th and East 27th. Staff reviewed code, couldn't really get it to qualify under anything, so we worked together with Mr. Misner to come up with a definition for adult day service and a definition for respite care service facility, and then proposed allowing these as a principal permitted use in all the commercial districts, C1, C2, C3, and O&P. And then included in this change, or this zoning text amendment, would be a rearrange of the agricultural attractions definition. The definitions for the adult day service facility and respite care service facility are borrowed from the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services website. And staff discussed it with state staff on kind of what was all included. This has been reviewed and approved by the city attorney, and then it's also been ran by the applicant to make sure he was all good with it, and he was. With that, staff recommends Planning Commission make a positive recommendation to City Council on the adoption of the revised Chapter 25, Article 2 regarding the definitions, as well as adding the two uses to the C1, C2, C3, and the OP districts as principal permitted uses. And you'll see in your staff report that this same ordinance is for this agenda item and the next, since it's one zoning ordinance change. We would try to do it all as one ordinance change when it gets to council. But it's two public hearings for you guys. I'm not sure if Mr. Misner is here or not.
Do you have any comments from the public? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Any comments from the commission?
So, Zach, this will be included in the revised comprehensive plan, these additions?
I'm not sure if it would be referenced in the comprehensive plan, but it would be revised into the zoning code.
Zach, the only question I had was as far as it was pertaining to the surface, and you guys were talking about making all of the off-street parking.
Yeah, that'll be the next agenda.
We're talking about that on the next one,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, since it's two.
Two, you have to separate them.
We're trying to do it as one ordinance to City Council, but Planning Commission and City Council will review them separately.
Okay, okay.
Any other comments? Motion?
I move we make a positive recommendation to the city council on this.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please, Zach.
Bowman?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Dwyer?
Yes.
Estrada?
Yes.
Huber?
Yes.
Blue?
Yes.
Okay, F, public hearing regarding a zoning text amendment regarding the required surface material of off-street parking facilities. Open public hearing, Zach.
So staff was reviewing code, and this has kind of come up a few times. And the thinking was, the way it reads right now, say if Walmart were to come back, they could do a whole gravel parking lot the way code reads. So staff reviewed it, checked with the other cities, found most of the other first-class cities to be fairly strict with it, no exceptions, but did review Kearney's and found Kearney's to be favorable and offered the flexibility that seems logical and practical. So, and it looks like this has come before Planning Commission just shy or a little under 20 years ago. So, like I said, with the way it reads right now, gravel is an acceptable parking material or parking surface, which can be problematic for dust, safety hazard from having gravel in the street, increased maintenance to stormwater drains, and just kind of an unaesthetic image. So with looking at Kearney's, they require paved parking for most things, except for things kind of what we would grant exceptions for, which would be gravel is permitted in the ag district, the ag residential, and then the R1B, which is rural. So we wouldn't require any paved parking in those examples. Additionally, M1 and M2 gravel would be permitted with the exception for industrial uses only. So I guess an example would be like the sugar factory is fine with gravel, but say Reganis would have to be paved or El Chorito would have to be paved. So the sugar factory, though, in that case, accessible parking would have to be paved, and then the driveway approaches would have to be paved. And that's just to help with maintenance of the curb and gutter. And then in the residential zones, there would be an exception for surplus parking. So a house is required to have one off-street parking stall, which typically is the garage. So the way or the driveway. So say if you need to park your camper or your boat next to your house, that necessarily wouldn't have to be paved. That could be gravelled or rocked, was the thinking there. And then with the commercial zones, storage and service areas, and then excess parking could be, gravel would be an acceptable surface. So that pavement exception would be applied to that. With that said, looks like I forgot to update the staff report, but planning commission positive recommendation on the ordinance change regarding off-street parking service materials.
So Zach, so just required parking for that, whatever's getting built for the per square footage.
Correct, yeah.
It wouldn't have to be concrete,
Essentially,
not gravel.
yeah.
So, okay. I didn't know that you could even build, I mean, like a Walmart wouldn't want to do that, but something that size could just be a gravel lot for them. Okay.
Right, yep. Yeah, but we still want to have that flexibility because.
What brought this up? Just something you guys talked?
Reviewing some building plans, it came up, developer was looking to save some money, and it's like, well, you can gravel it, and then it kind of got to think, it's like, well, I don't know if we really want that entire thing to be gravelled, whereas, the overflow parking, sure, that would be fine to be gravelled.
Well, would this be detrimental to smaller projects, say, instead of the bigger projects?
No, I can't
Instead of
really
force them to have to do concrete and certain
Right.
areas.
I can't really foresee that. I suppose maybe an instance would be like C3 zones for like a warehouse or something. That would be something that might need to be considered, and we can always come back and maybe add I guess I thought about that, and the workaround or a way for a developer to get around that is kind of how we did with Dollar General on West Oberlin, where the planning commission can reduce the required parking. So say a small business needs 10 parking stalls, and that's just too much pavement, and they want to gravel 5, they could come before the planning commission and say, we looked at other businesses, we only actually need 5 parking stalls.
Reasonable count or something.
Planning commission approves that, then those other 5 can be gravelled by default with that exception, so.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Sam.
We have any public comments? If not, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Have any comments from the commission? We have a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
There's a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please, Zach.
Bowman,
Yes.
Wayman,
Yes.
Awile,
Yes.
Estrada,
Yes.
Hubert,
Yes.
Baloo.
Yes.
Okay, 7 staff reports. Staff to provide update on comprehensive plan to planning commission.
So relatively minor update on the comprehensive plan, but Marvin Planning Consultants is planning on coming out to Scotts Bluff May 5th and 6th. They'll be presenting to City Council, most likely on May 5th at that meeting. They're hoping to meet with the realtors, do a focus group there, and then also potentially have another open house meeting on the 6th. If that were to come to be, it would be held at the library in that community room. But we have a meeting with them tomorrow, so hopefully have some more information.
So May 5th, that's the evening?
Yeah, May 5th, they're planning on presenting to City Council.
Oh, City Council, okay.
And then May 6th would be a potential open house at the library.
Okay. The next scheduled meeting is May 12th, 2025. Can we have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second?
A second.
Roll call, please, Zach.
Baloo,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Wayman,
Yes.
Awile,
Yes.
Estrada,
Yes.
Hubert,
Yes.